If you hear about El Paso, Texas, and you get told, name me some places that are haunted, places that are known to have paranormal activity, where does your mind start to wander? Do you go to Concordia Cemetery, to the Sunset Heights neighborhood? How about the Plaza Theatre here downtown in El Paso, Texas? Let's go to the other side. Hello, welcome back to the other side. I'm always your host, ASOS. As I said in the intro, we're going to be talking about the Plaza Theatre today because I got to go visit it on Wednesday, and I've actually never been inside of the Plaza Theatre. I have always been on the outside talking about the ghosts within it. I've done plenty of paranormal ghost tours where they have spoken about it. You've talked to employees and they tell you about different stories, but I've never been inside to truly get the experience. Now, later in the video, I am going to insert one of my interviews with one of the employees there. However, I'm not going to use his name or her name or their name or whatever. I'm also distorting their voice out of respect because they gave me permission, but they didn't really give me permission. You know what I mean? They didn't really say yes. They didn't really say no. They just started speaking. So I was like, I'm going to record. You didn't say yes. You didn't say no. You're just starting to tell me the story. I'm going to do what I need to do. So yeah, you're not going to see their face. You're not going to hear their voice. It's going to be completely blocked out. But there is an interview that I did. And then we're also wanting to tell you that there is a huge disclaimer. You know, in this video, when we talk about ghosts and we talk about things like that, we always do want you guys to be warned that we will be talking about death, about murders. Unfortunately, there is some potential suicide talk in here. I want you guys to be very warned, don't get triggered, please. There is going to be some heavy topics within this video, and if you guys are okay with it, let's keep watching, let's keep talking. If not, that's okay. I respect it. But it's spooky, it's ooky, it's kooky time. Let's get into it. So this is a historic time capsule in the Sun City, which is what we call Paso. Tour, like I said, the inside of it, but it was only a small portion of it. Unfortunately, they did not let me tour the entire thing, which made me really sad because I heard that there was a basement. I heard that there was a tunnel, and I was like, tunnels? Like, I'm like a little dog, like when they hear treat, like they're like treat. Like me, when I hear tunnels, I'm like, tunnels? Where? You know, tunnels for me, I'm like fascinated by tunnels. I'm like, dude, tell me more. Like, let me go. Let me see them. Like, I am so into tunnels. Whenever I hear tunnels, I'm telling you, I get like perked up. I'm like, you got my attention. I'm ready to hear about this. And yeah, I'm like, there's tunnels. So they were talking to me about the basement. They were talking to me about everything. And I was like, tunnels? I want the tunnels. I really wish that El Paso would allow people to tour the tunnels and that they would capitalize on the tunnels a little bit more and they would allow people like tastefully go down into the tunnels because people obviously are curious. I'm a curious person, okay? Like, I really want to know. Why tunnels were built, what was the reason, what do we use them for today, what really lurks behind it all. It's just a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole that we go down. But let's go back to the Theta, like I said. So it's history, because its history is very important for you to understand the past is to understand the future. So in order to understand the ghosts, to understand everything that goes on there, you need to know its history. So this was built in the midst of the Great Depression, but also in the midst of El Paso's growth and becoming a booming population. So the 1920s, 1930s was kind of a wild time for El Paso because it was growing, but then we were leading into the Great Depression. And now this theater was not a small chunk of change. Like, this theater has always costed millions and millions of dollars to build, millions of dollars to renovate and upkeep. And they even told me that they have an asbestos problem. Asbestos. If you don't know what asbestos is, it does cause cancer. So they do have an asbestos problem today. And they told me that anytime that they want to renovate, they want to do anything, they have to actually like go through an entire process, because a lot of things that you would think would only take a week for them to finish, it ends up taking them, 3, 4, 5, it just takes them a long time because there's an asbestos problem. So it costs a lot of money back then, it costs a lot of money today still to upkeep this theater. So it thinking about spending that money though in the Great Depression is just wild. I mean, we're in a Great Depression currently. So even to spend that kind of money now is like, you know? But anyways, the theater is coined as the Broadway of the Southwest. During the 1940s and 1950s, the theater had brought major motion pictures stars including John Wayne, Rudolph Scott, and James Stewart. The plaza continued to draw in large crowds in the 1960s, with remodeling happening in 1965. However, despite the new spurt of popularity and it was drawing people away from downtown. In 1976, the plaza would see its last film. In the 1970s, the plaza was sold. It was facing demolition, but it was saved by the Dipp family in 1973, who wanted to bring back the shows to the Sun City. However, again in 1986, El Paso wanted to take down the building to build a large parking lot, but the Community Foundation raised over $1 million in under 6 weeks. They had this insane deadline to overcome, because if they did not do this, it would be gone forever. So they took on this. They only had 6 weeks to come up with $1 million. Okay, like that's not a lot of time to come up with $1 million at all. But somehow they did it. Somehow they were able to rally the community and get people to save the theater. But I think that El Paso sucks in the sense that we do not preserve its past. We are very notorious for tearing things down downtown for the sake of progress. But if you look at downtown today, there is no progress. Like, I think downtown is such a sad place. It does have a lot of potential. But potential is only good if you can preserve the legacy there, but also bring it into the future. And El Paso just does not do a very good job of this. And it saddens me a lot. It really, really does, because they also destroyed the old library. Like the old library, oh my God, downtown, that building was gorgeous, gorgeous. And they tore it down and made this modern library junk. And I look at the old pictures and I look at what they built now, and I'm like, you could have made that something. You know what I mean? So, whatever, I'll get over my rant. And I'll just say that, but they overcame and they saved the plaza again. So this was the second time that they had to save the plaza. In 1990, the Community Foundation had partnered with the city of El Paso to restore the plaza to its former glory. It costed $38 million and would not be done or reopened until 2006. So it took almost 16 years with $38 million just to restore it to its former glory. Now, I will let you know that I'm going to put in the video now of the person I talked to. Like I said, it's going to be altered. It's going to be different. You're not really going to see much in it. You're just going to be listening to the person, and I'll be just inserting images throughout for privacy reasons.
Kid, and you can hear her like laughing or like bouncing a ball. And then they say there's another one, an older gentleman in the upper rows, like the mezzanine and the balcony level, that sometimes you can see like a glow, like from a cigar. Because he used to be able to smoke in the 50s and 60s. And I don't know the whole story, how he died there or something, but like, they say sometimes you can just see like a little faint glow, like a little orange light. And then it like dims back out. So like he's puffing a cigar, inhaling, and then it goes back out. So those are the two. I've heard like security guards that said they've heard the little girl giggling. And never me personally. And I walk around here, and I've worked here so long that I can walk around this building in the dark. Wow, like I know like the ins and outs already. I know where everything is. Yeah. That's insane. Like my office is downstairs in the basement. You work in the basement? Yeah. And you've never heard of the basement troll. That's hilarious. So like say like at the end of a show, like the end of a concert or something, we gotta come through, turn off all the lights, make sure all the dressing rooms are cleared. So when we're doing that, we turn off the lights and just walk down the hallway. Just kind of do like one of these. Like, oh, all right, yeah, here's the door. Cool. All right, like I can walk from the dock down to my office in like pitch black. So I already know where all the stuff is, and you're not scared, nothing. No, never felt scared here. So when I did a ghost tour, because like I said, I have social media everywhere doing paranormal stuff. They said that they spoke to one of the security guards, and that's how they got their sources of the fact that there is something here. Because one of the security guards was a whistleblower. So there was one who said he was checking the building and he heard like a giggle, and he was like walking down the steps, and he heard it again. Like he turned around. So like, yeah, it's nothing. So he started like walking, and he said he felt something push. Yeah. And then they were just like once he like fell, he only fell like 2 steps. Yeah. But he said that he could hear like playful giggling. Wow, not like loud, but like things. And then he just kind of like looked back and he's like, yeah, I will never come to the building like alone by myself. Because the security guards come here, they gotta come do rounds and check everything. And they're here with flashlights, making sure everything's locked up. So they've been here probably more than me, but I mean, I've been here a good long time. I was at 16 years, 16 years, almost 17 years. Well, so just, I don't know. I'm not like a big believer in the supernatural.
All right, so now that you heard about the ghosts in the plaza, uh, and you know the history, and you can just bring everything back, I want to say about the employees that a lot of them actually did not want to speak to me about the ghosts. A lot of them were like, there are no ghosts, there's no such thing, there's nothing. And then other employees were like, no, 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 there's ghosts. It's creepy in here. We've seen things, we've heard things. It was a very mixed bag of different opinions on it. The other weird thing, though, is that the El Paso Times states that the El Paso Fire Department holds no records of fatalities at the plaza, yet there is claims of death on the ground. So they do claim that the man that smokes a cigarette in the plaza balcony, that man plunged to his death. And one of the former employees from US Ghosts, one of the employees had stated that they had smelt a cigarette smoke one night wafting throughout the building, so they went to go look for the source. They were like, this is odd, this is weird, I've never smelled this before, I don't understand what's going on, the building should be closed, nobody should be in here. So they started walking throughout the building. Then they made it to the balcony, and they saw a man sitting there at the balcony smoking the cigarette. However, she noted that when she met his eyes, so they met each other's eyes, they're looking at each other, that this was a strange pale color. The smoke was emanating from him. And that the man allegedly spoke to her, said, we all have a time to die. Then he plunged himself off the balcony, but as soon as she thought to go help him, because she thought it was a real person, he reappeared and he just repeated the cycle. So this ghost is a ghost that is repeating what happened to him in life. He is not a ghost that can get out of that time loop. Now, there's no records, though, of the little girl spirit that everybody talks about. There's just nothing, which I think is very creepy and very odd about that spirit. And I do want to know more, but there was just nothing more to be found, really. It's like you got to do an investigation and everything like that. So, do you believe the Plaza Theater in El Paso, Texas is haunted? Or no? Do you have any experiences in the plaza? Do you have any answers of who the little girl is? Share with me down in the comment section below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Please interact with me in the comments. I promise I do reply. I hope you guys have a very spooky day. This was The Other Side. Goodbye. Have a great day. Adios.